To figure out where a function is increasing or decreasing, you first need to look at the derivative. So let's go ahead and get that real quick. F prime of x would equal 4x cubed minus 4x, and that's about it. Yeah, that's your first derivative. Now we set this equal to 0 and figure out the values of x that causes this equal 0. Notice I can factor out a 4 and an x from this expression, giving me 4x times x squared minus 1 equals 0, which factors further into 4x times x minus 1 times x plus 1. So the three values of x that cause this expression to be 0 are 0, 1, and negative 1. I'm going to draw this on a number line, negative 1, 0, and 1. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my favorite number larger than 1, say x equals 2. So I'm going to pick x equals 2 from this section of the number line, plug it into my my first derivative, and I get 4 times 2 times 2 minus 1 times 2 plus 1. All of these numbers, when I plug in x equals 2, is going to give me a positive result. So I get a positive here. Positive times a positive times a positive is a positive. Now pick your favorite number between 0 and 1. It's going to be kind of annoying because there's not a nice whole number there. There's 1/2, but that's what we'll do. We'll plug in 1/2. 4 times 1/2 is positive. 1/2 minus 1 is negative, and then 1/2 plus 1 is positive. Positive times positive is a negative. And we're going to keep doing this process all the way down. Pick your favorite number between negative 1 and 0. I like negative 1/2. 4 times negative 1/2 is negative. Negative 1/2 minus 1 is negative. Negative 1/2 plus 1 is positive. Negative times a positive is a positive. And if you pick your favorite number less than negative 1, like negative 2, and we plug that in, we'll get negative, 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 which multiplies to be a negative. Okay, now that we have our number line set up, and this is our first derivative number line, we can then ascertain where is this graph increasing or decreasing. We want to figure out where it's decreasing, so those would be the intervals from negative 1 to 0. I'm an idiot. Not increasing, decreasing. So those intervals would be negative infinity to negative 1, union 0 to 1. We're looking for the graph or where f is decreasing, which means we want to figure out where the first derivative is negative, which would be the interval from negative infinity to negative 1, and as well from 0 to 1, and this is your answer.